Like many around the world, Canadians are struggling with the cost of food. But amid accusations of greedflation, taking advantage of inflation to raise prices, the country's largest grocery chains say they aren't to blame. With food prices mounting, Canadian grocery store giant Loblaw made a promise. The cost of products under its lower-cost in-house brand, No Name, will remain frozen for 3 months. The offer, announced in a promotional email by Loblaw CEO Galen Weston on the 17th of October, wasn't well received. Some labeled it a PR stunt, while others declared it too little, too late. The sour reaction isn't without reason. Inflation has slowed in recent months, but the cost of food is still soaring, with increases reaching a 41-year high. At the same time, large corporations, including grocers, are reporting record earnings. Loblaw's first quarter profit this year was up nearly 40% from that of last year, and its net earnings after adjustments were up 17%. In Canada, where distrust in grocery magnates runs deep from a recent bread price fixing scandal, this dilemma has turned political. Members of Parliament have accused grocery chains of taking advantage of inflation to raise prices more than needed, a phenomenon dubbed by some greedflation. On the same day Mr. Weston's letter was sent, Canada's Parliament unanimously passed a motion that accused grocery CEOs of corporate greed. On Monday, the federal competition watchdog launched an investigation into the sector. But is there any truth to the idea of greedflation? Economists say it's complicated. For families who frequent grocery stores, the drastic increase in prices is hard to ignore. Canada's food prices in September were up 11.4% compared to 6.9% overall inflation. There's no safe space for consumers at the grocery store, not even the freezer aisle, said Sylvain Charlebois, a professor at Dalhousie University in Nova Scotia who has been publishing an annual report on Canadian food prices since 2010. The problem isn't unique to Canada. The UK has seen a drastic rise in food prices as well. Bread and cereals were up by an annual 12.4% in July, and oils and fats were up 23.4%. So has the US, where the cost of food was up 13.5% in September compared to last year. In all three countries, the factors driving up the cost of food are similar. A surge in demand for groceries since the start of the pandemic, coupled with COVID-19 outbreaks, has disrupted supply. Add to that the war in Ukraine, which has affected supplies of fertilizer, wheat and other crops, sending global prices soaring. Bad weather this year has also disrupted the growth of certain crops, and fuel has gotten more expensive. As shoppers grow more frustrated, grocery companies around the world have moved to freeze prices in a show of solidarity. In May, US company Weis Markets announced a multi-million-dollar campaign to cut prices on its best-selling frozen products. France's Carrefour froze the price on 100 everyday products in August, and the UK's Asda and Morrisons both cut prices in April. But when Canada's Loblaw froze prices months later in October, it felt too late. Frankly, they have done nothing for a long time, said David MacDonald, an economist with the left-leaning Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives. He added the prices of goods that the grocer froze had already gone up from earlier this year. No-name chicken wings, for example, were 11.99 Canadian dollars, $8.75, £7.75. Now they are $13.99. Loblaw CEO Mr. Weston has said the price increases at his stores are maddeningly out of his company's control. Some, like Canadian Member of Parliament Alistair McGregor, disagree. The announcement, the left-leaning New Democrats said, demonstrates the fact that the CEO of Loblaw always had it within his power to freeze prices. He also criticized the company for making the announcement the same day Parliament was set to vote on probing the profits of grocery retailers, calling it a poor attempt to deflect from the negative attention. With grocers reporting an increase in profits, Mr. McGregor said there's likely a moral call there for companies to reform their business practices to curb inflation and help struggling families. In dollars, grocers have made an average of $1.5 billion in the first 2 quarters of 2020.